Superman, after watching Gladiator, I'm thinking, well, why isn't Russell Crowe Superman?
Because he's an old bastard, mate. Jeez. It's like super grandfather, wasn't it?
You remember watching it as a kid, though. What do you think of the 1978 version? What do you remember most?
I've never seen it.
No kidding.
I haven't seen any of those movies. My one true reference to Superman is the black and white TV show from the 50s that was endlessly playing on Australian television after school for years and years. Even after we had colour TVs, we still had a black and white Superman play. So that's really my only reference.
So, but you do know that Marlon Brando.
Yeah, I know that.
Role.
I know that, but
so you didn't feel any.
I've seen stills. I've seen photographs. And those photographs really led me to never want to watch what that was.
You don't want to feel the pressure?
No, the costumes looked hokey as shit. so I just didn't want to, I prefer my Brando to be like on the waterfront Brando,
Superman now compared to 1978. You guys watch the 1978 version?
Sure.
Back in the day?
Back in the day, yeah.
Was it that long ago? Was it 78?
Everybody was still trying to make out at the drive-in, of course.
So you were preoccupied, you didn't pay attention to it.
Yeah, it's like, the guy can fly, so what, I got a car.
These are the films I grew up with, these big summer blockbusters, and I never really saw myself in one of them except Superman. I was like, if I'm ever going to be a superhero, I'm going to have to be immortal, clearly. So yeah, I always identified more with Lois Lane.
So the 1978 version, you remember that one pretty well?
Oh yeah, very well. Yeah.
Did you ever think then, I could be Lois Lane?
No, I didn't. No, I definitely thought, I want to go for that night ride with Superman. I definitely loved the love story. I was definitely a lover.
Speaking of love story, the girls back at the office need me to ask you this. What's it like making out with Superman?
Well, it's always, it's always that thing of you're on set and everyone's watching and you can't, it's
but it's a Man of Steel. I mean, it's not cold. Is he got no emotion? What's going on there?
No. It's Henry. I mean, there's nothing cold about Henry. So I think everything about Henry is hot.
He's phenomenal. He is Superman, really. I mean, I think, most of the people, they don't really see what it means to play a character like it. It's an institution of a role, right? And to just be brave enough to take on something like it. At the same time, it's great, but at the other end, you must be so afraid and scared and all of that. And also, he dedicated himself to this character, which, I watched him, and seeing him through the whole of the process, he's great. He is Superman.
I think Superman never had it so good in terms of Henry coming in to flesh him out and bring a whole level of heart and history and a whole bunch of things that Superman never got to have explored before.
We were about the same age. I mean, when the 78 version came out, that was so huge.
Yeah.
I mean, how much of that did you borrow, if not at all?
Well, we really tried to pretend, honestly, like those movies didn't exist, because we knew that if we tried to service any kind of, homage or, reboot of a particular idea in that film, that we'd be stuck with like the baggage. And not to say that was bad, but it was, because I'm a big fan of that film, but I just was like, okay, look, we have to let that film be its own thing. It will exist forever. And but we just really need to sort of pretend like we were going to start from scratch, and those movies hadn't been made. What kind of movie do we want to make? And that's kind of the philosophy we went into.
And you clearly made the decision to put Superman's red briefs back underneath the uniform.
Yeah, he's wearing his underwear under his clothes where they belong. Look, I wanted the underwear to work. I tried.
You did?
Because I'm a fan, so I was like, let's see it. And we had like tons of versions of the costume with red underwear, and I just was. And I go, gosh, you know what? Guys, no. We got to take it off.
Not very Man of Steel-y.
It's just, we've evolved, I hope, a little bit.
Did you have to tap any of your real-life parenting skills for this role?
I think so. I think you lean on the idea of how do you talk to a child? How do you protect one? There's a tone of voice. There's a level of gravity that has to go with it. And,
and reassurance, too. You also, it's amazing. You think that he's above needing reassurance. He needed more reassurance because he was different than all the other kids that he so wanted to belong among. And his hypersensitivity, literally, physically, his hearing, his sight, his experience of the world, brought him pain. Couldn't shut it out, couldn't control how he was experiencing it.
Your boys are past diaper age now, but I heard that one of the infants on set had a little accident in your arms.
No, 4 of them.
4 of them all did.
Yeah, all of them. Each one of them got me in one way or the other. Whether it was, through air, water, or solid matter.
Were you used to it by the 4th?
No, the 4th was the big one. The fourth was the Mount Vesuvius. And, prior to that, it was, But, I got through having 2 boys and never got hit by friendly fire once, right on that set. I think it was probably because the environment on that set was sort of kind of a hard environment. I was very conscious of the safety of the babies. So there was no option when they started going off. It was just like, And at one point, actually, one of them was going off and I got so wet so quickly that I had to hug him to my body
Just to
while
stay
he was
warm?
still going. No, because he was slippery.
Oh.
So if I kept him away from me, that's a baby. That's a real baby, So the only way to keep him safe was to bring him to my body so I could, ensure that I wouldn't drop him.